Shout out Sniper T on the beat.
Tamara to the break of dawn is on the rise, with life on the forefront of the mind. So line for line, you can ride this brain train and you can change your station without even touching the dial. So relax, stay a little bit, but listen for a while. And whether you're bumping this in the whip or in a business fit, it's a meeting you won't want to miss. A meeting for a meal to feed the soul with words for the mind. So sit back, enjoy the ride. Time to take off, it's time to fly. Cause Tamara till the break of dawn is on the rise.
Hey, y'all. It's me, Tamara, Andy Murph. Yes. Oh, yes. Thank y'all.
Hey, I love it.
Yes. Studio audience is always so welcome. Always so welcoming. I appreciate y'all. I will officially introduce D Murph in a second, but I definitely want to thank y'all for tuning in. All my new listeners, new episodes drop every Thursday. I generally talk about my life and the ways that I'm trying to grow, but this is a different type of series that I'm doing. And so, we got some variety, all kinds of stuff coming. This is the first episode of 2022. Yes. So, man, Happy New Year, y'all. I hope that your New Year's Eve was amazing and safe. And whatever resolutions y'all out here making, because y'all know how y'all do, make sure you actually, stick to it. You know what I'm saying? Don't quit. Keep going. Consistency, all that good stuff. My regular listeners, my regular supporters, thank you so much for continuing to stick with me on this journey. If y'all are not, you should definitely start following me on social media. So my link tree with all of my social media sites is in the episode notes. I've been saying this every week, y'all. I have finally been adding more TikTok content. I had to really figure out, what does TikTok look like for me? And I really wanted to start putting more content because it's just another platform and another way to get my brand out there, especially now that I've launched Melanin Intoxicate. You can't always just depend on the same old people. You got to branch out, step out your comfort zone and all that good stuff. But I wanted it to be authentic. I had to do something or do stuff. I had to figure out, like, what is authentically me that I could do on TikTok. And so I've kind of finally figured out that rhythm. So go ahead and follow me on there. And then also, I'm also adding different types of content to my YouTube channel. So you should subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not. There's going to be stuff that I'm not going to have it on Instagram. So there's always going to be content that's kind of gonna be on all platforms just because of the nature of what it is. But there's going to be a lot more content that may only be on TikTok, and then there's content that may only be on YouTube. It just kind of depends. So follow me on all the stuff, the link trees in the episode notes. Get y'all some Melanin Intoxicate. Yes, launched December 1st. Shout out to everybody that supported, especially in the middle of the Christmas season, because, y'all could have spent your money anywhere else. Y'all could have bought from anybody else, but I appreciate it. I appreciate the people who even just share my tweets, like my Instagram content, or share my Facebook content, or the people who share my Instagram content to y'all stories. Like, any kind of support, you don't have to do it. So I definitely appreciate it. This is my baby, because I had, it was in the works for like a year before it finally launched. So super excited that it's finally out here for all y'all to see. I don't have any other announcements, so let's go ahead and get into it. So, for this second volume of the Jack of All Trades series, our guest is a father. He's a husband, of course. You don't always have to be a father when you're a husband, but he is definitely a husband.
Yeah.
Let's just read off his resume, okay, y'all? So, successful athlete, a corporate man, entrepreneur. He's a multi award winning content creator who has had several celebrity guests on his podcast, including David Ruffin. I mean, the Leon Robinson, better known as just Leon. He's the author of How Podcasting Helped Me Get My Groove Back. It's more than just a mic. And then word on the street is that he's adding children's author to his resume, but we'll get into that in a little bit. And he's a friend of the show, the big homie, but I call him my OG. Ladies and gentlemen, officially welcome D Murph back to the show. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all. Studio audience.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Happy New Year, everybody, as well. I'm glad to be on this other end when it comes to guest features and just being able to present content. I love it. I'm relaxed and I'm excited.
Yes, I was thinking about how this is like, because I've been on your show a few different times with
Yeah.
guests, couple solo episodes, and
Yep.
you highlight people a lot on one of your shows. And so I was thinking as I was preparing for this, how it's probably interesting for you to be on the other side in this sense. This is a specific type of episode, kind of similar to how you do in a sense where you highlight people, you focus on what they're doing. So welcome to the other side.
To the
And
other side.
right. And D Murph has been on here before. He was on an episode. Gosh, this would have been with him probably my first year of podcasting. Him and Baylor.
BTG.
Yeah, shout out to him. Him and Baylor were on together. But I definitely, for this particular series, he's definitely somebody who came to mind that just in listening to his show or just conversations that we've had, watching, even the stuff he posts on his social media. Shout out to him because he's gotten better at tweeting because,
I
he,
have.
he was really struggling when we first met. He was
Yeah.
barely on there, but social media, if you are a content creator or you trying to grow a brand or a company, that is really the easiest way to get your brand out there because
Yes.
I'm not going to say everybody's on social media because I know that there are people that are not on social media, but everybody knows somebody who's on social media. And a lot of times somebody will hand you their phone. Ooh, look at this, and show you whatever. So it really is a great way to get your brand just known by people and get support because you can't always expect your family and friends to support you in the beginning stages because they don't understand what's going on a lot of the time, and sometimes they don't see you outside of the box they have you in. But
Mhm.
let's go ahead and get into the jack of all trades. Now, you work a 9 to 5, and I know you work a lot of hours at times. So talk to the people first about your day job. What is it that you do career wise?
Before I answer that question, you had said something interesting regarding the social media presence.
Mhm.
And as you know, for people to take you serious, especially as an indie or
Mhm.
independent, you have to put yourself out there more than
Mhm.
what you're comfortable with doing. And one of the things that I wanted to do is put myself in uncomfortable situations to
Mm.
make it more comfortable, so where I can,
Mhm.
like you said, in different platforms and more consistent, start posting and showing different things
Mhm.
that will catch different people, and you don't know what that particular tweet or post on social media will grab who, or who will tell who about what they've seen about you.
Mhm.
Here we are today. But to
Yeah.
answer, I'll let you have something to add.
No, no, no. Go ahead.
So during the day, I am in the field of logistics where I'm fortunate to where I get to be very loud.
Mm.
I get to work with a whole bunch of dope people that's everyday life people. So for me, it's what I do in my everyday life. whether I'm at work, at home, for the brand, or whoever I have on my show. So for me, it's real easy. Team atmospheres, because in my position in mid-level management,
Talk to him.
I don't mind getting my hands dirty. But I
Mm-hmm.
do believe everyone has strengths. And being an athlete, hey, I'm the coach.
Mm.
You're going to be my forward. You're going to be my guard. You're going to be my post. You're the ball handler, rebounder, shooter. So I put my team members in places that will make them succeed. In
Mm.
turn, it makes my job easy. So that's how I've been able to do what I've been doing as far as juggling, as the title of the show, Jack of all trades, and be consistent for over 5 years, especially since I've been podcasting.
Okay, good manager, delegation, trusting your team to do what you know
Got
what
you.
I'm saying,
The kids at home.
empowering your team. Yes, even the fact that you call it the team that you lead and not necessarily just your employees. You understand that, the job can't get done without delegating to these people. Now, this may be just me, but hopefully maybe somebody else doesn't know what logistics means. Like, what does that mean practically speaking?
Practically, just work in a warehouse.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, just work in a warehouse. It's the simplest way of putting it. I tell anybody, warehouse or whatever you do, just be the best, and the
Oh
money will.
yeah. Oh yeah. It's just I knew you were in management because we've talked about that before, but and I know you have said on I think either we talked about this or I heard it on an episode that you were in retail at some point, but I just kind of didn't think you were still in retail, and so all the other information I was able to do my research and figure out, but this was something that I actually was like, what does he do? Because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, no, but yeah, my mom, she worked in warehouse for years, and there is such good money in that. And even my one of my kids, I guess because they might not want it out there, but one of my kids works in the Amazon warehouse. Again, good money. People want to talk they stuff about Amazon. Let's not pretend like we don't buy from them because it's
Thank
convenient.
y'all.
You know what I mean? And there's small businesses that use Amazon to warehouse and ship out and do all that stuff with their products. But yeah, my mom, like I said, she worked for years doing something I don't even know. I just know where the building was until they got bought out and laid people off and all that good stuff. And of course, now she's doing something else. But yeah, there's really good money in that. How long have you been in that career field?
So, like you were saying, in retail, I did retail for about 7 years.
Mm,
Once I got done hooping, all that
mm,
good stuff. Once I
mm,
realized that I need to focus on being a family man. That's
mm-hmm,
basically my daughter was born. So I said, my personality fits. So for retail, talking to a lot of people, did some sales, and wanted to see how far it would take me. And the customer's always right mentality for me got old after
mm.
year 5. So
Right, right.
a couple of years to see what I can do based on my life experiences, my strengths. And a buddy of mine told me that because I'm very outspoken and I have a
Mm,
voice that carry, he said, "Have you thought about working in a warehouse?"
mm.
I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, man. You get to be loud because you are loud." I said, "You right. I am.
Mhm,
And you get to work with a whole bunch of people.
mhm,
And from what I've known about you, from hearing your days about being an athlete, give it a shot." And
mm.
I end up, after, a few years, was able to land a spot in logistics and been doing that for a total of, yeah, 8 years. So, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, over
Yes.
half my working career has been in logistics or working in the warehouse.
Yes. Come through consistency. I always tell my kids one of the things my mom instilled in me. Shout out to her because my work ethic, my grind, I really attribute that to her. And one of the things she told me with my first job, and she didn't say that consistency in employment matters. She didn't use that language. But what she said was you have to keep your job at least a year before you can quit. And you, because I was what, 15, I think, or something like that with my first job. And she said that you can't quit until you have another job lined up. And so by instilling that in me at a young age, that's just something that's always stuck with me. Now, working in the social work field, I haven't stayed at the same job more than I'd say 3.5 years was the longest, but it was always promotion as the reason why I moved on. So it wasn't just quitting a job for the sake of quitting it. It was okay. Well, this is as far as I can get promoted in this company because I would always get promoted everywhere I worked. I don't want to be upper level management because that's not even anything I want to do. So sticking with my talents, my skills, the things I'm, passionate about, I guess I need to move over there. And I see how it all equipped me for where I am now. Now, let's get into you, the athlete. You know what I'm saying? Another trade. And it's something that even when you were talking about the way that you delegate to your team. You use basically sports terms like this is my forward, this is this. So sports and being an athlete is still very much who you are, but you did mention that you kind of push that to the side at some point in your life. So let's talk about your journey. When did you start playing? What sports all did you get into? I know basketball for sure, but I don't know if anything else was in there. But yeah, let's talk about your sports journey because all these things are still very much a part of who you are in
Yes.
everything that you do.
Yes, that is correct. Basketball was my first love.
Hmm.
I know all sports. I played all sports. That's how I'm able to hashtag why not sports. Shameless plug.
Okay.
You are
Okay.
telling
Yes. Of
what
course we're gonna
Dawn.
get into that. Yes, do that.
Basketball was the easiest. It was something that when I was bored, I knew other people could play.
Hmm.
It's hard to bring a group of people to play baseball.
Oh,
Uh,
true.
it's hard to bring a group of people. It's hard to bring a group of people to, for me, play football. And then I was skinny. If
And
you
how
hit me,
tall are
Mike,
you?
I'm 6'7".
Oh, okay. I knew, yeah, because I in all the pictures I see, you are always towering everyone. So
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
When I was a kid, I was usually the tallest in my class. However, I was real fragile. So
Mm,
playing football, I had the hands.
yeah.
As soon as I catch it and you tackle me, I'm ready to fight or I'm hurt and I don't want to play no more.
Right.
So I was like, I'm not gonna do football. Baseball, like I said, it's hard to bring a group of people from how I grew up or where I grew up to play baseball.
Hmm.
Basketball was always the easiest. It was always easy to get a group of people, your family members, to get together and hoop, even though they didn't. I mean, who don't play basketball? Even if you're not good,
Hmm.
you can still bring some people out to shoot free throws, play horse, pig, whatever. 21.
Hmm.
Stop laughing at me, world. Tell them I'm myself. Terminology. Or you can play by yourself. You know what I mean? And it still brought me joy. So once I knew at a young age that I can even play by myself and love it, I'm gonna pursue this thing called basketball and ran with it ever since.
Mm. Now, how far in life did you continue to? Now, I know you probably still play maybe pickup games here and there, but being like a serious, dedicated, I'm sure high school, college, how long into your life did you continue with basketball and really trying to pursue that before you
So
decided
I thought,
to put the family first, of course?
yeah, for me, I graduated So I gave it a year after I graduated. I had a lot of offers to play overseas
A
or go
year
to
after
different
you
jobs.
graduated college, or
Yes, college.
okay,
Yeah,
okay, that's what I thought, but I just want to make
yeah.
sure the people understand.
You're right. That's good. That's good. So I want to make sure I break that down. So I went to college. I went to high school, did my thing, had shoe boxes of offers, interests from other colleges. Ended up picking a school. I'm from the Midwest originally, born and raised.
Shout out.
All day long, and it's cold in the
Mm,
Midwest. And I'm the
mhm,
first born. Okay,
mm.
I want to make sure I emphasize that. I'm telling the story now, world. I knew once I reached a certain point in my life, Tam, I said, I'm not shoveling no more snow. Period. I'm done.
I
Like
feel
I
it.
love my mom, I love Granny, RIP. I'm not shoveling snow.
Mm.
I had offers. I separated my offers or schools based on geographic location. So my southern box is where I was mainly pulling from and communicating back and forth. Ultimately, I ended up picking a school in Corpus Christi, Texas, Texas A&M in Corpus.
Okay.
Um, Great experience there, and did some open tryouts for some professional teams overseas, and then I'm looking at it like, hey, I got to, well, I will at that time have a degree in accounting. How much money are they trying to pay me to play basketball? How much money am I gonna make as a graduate with a degree? I'm
Mm.
gonna go where the money at, and that's
Mm.
where I decided to put the game of basketball away on a serious note, and then focus on what life will present. How life will present itself. And then my firstborn, within like a few months, I said, "Oh well, this was a clear decision. It was an easy decision." So. Um, just let the game go. Learned a lot from it. Obviously, the value of team, the value of being a
Mhm.
captain. Bringing a group of people from all walks of life, especially in college. They would bring in top-notch recruits and a lot of my teammates from all parts of the world, country, and
Mm.
still was a captain throughout my collegiate career, and I earned a lot of respect from them as well as the coaches. So I was like, huh, I do have a nick. My mom say a gift for the gift for
Mm.
gab. So I was like, so, but yep, that was what I did until yeah, I decided to weigh my options. And that's one thing about life. It's good to have options. And
Mhm.
people were disappointed in me that I didn't decide to go the basketball route because I have the talent, I have the IQ. I played with and against people that still to this day, hey, that's Murph. They
Mm.
put theirs, and I'm on my way. I just had to take a different route. But for me, I knew it was greater than the game because I knew I wanted to be another. I didn't want to be the person that all he knows is basketball or
Mm.
another jock. He don't bring nothing else to the table. And I
Mm.
took that personal. So I said, you know what? Part of my ego was in the way. So I said, I don't really need the game as much as
Mm.
I do, or what they think I do. That's why I have a degree. That's how I know how to, do things on my own. I
Mhm.
was away from my family. They didn't tell me, "Hey, Derek. Hey, Murph. You go to class today?" Coaches, did you do your schoolwork? Are you passing your test? I was always like, unless I come to you, I got it. So
Mm.
kept that same mentality up until this point to where I've made some decisions that a lot of people don't agree with or haven't agreed with. And here I am on Tam to the break of dawn. Happy New Year, first episode of 2022.
Yes, and one characteristic, something you just mentioned, that is very true of all jack of all trades, of all successful entrepreneurs. And when I say successful, it's not always about being rich. It's more so if you can consistently stick to building a business, get through the ups, the downs, the self doubt, the frustrations, the failures, and the things that don't work out the way you want or when you want or whatever. And if you could push past all that, it's that determination that you said that And also that I'd say even responsibility as well, where it's like no one had to tell you to do anything. And you said, unless I ask you for help, I got it. And that is definitely characteristics that I know have to be true in all entrepreneurs, because when you are building something from scratch, it's a lot different than when you work for an employer, because when you work for an employer, you are accountable to your employer. But then also, if you call out or if are feeling sick or whatever, somebody else can generally cover the work that, it might be a slight inconvenience or a big one, depending on if y'all are short staffed. But when you're an entrepreneur and you're building something from scratch, the days are longer because a lot of times you start doing this when you're already working a full time job. And then on top of that, sick days, what does that look like? Because sometimes the work still has to get done, even though you don't feel the greatest, because if you don't do it, it won't get done. And so I can see as you're sharing parts of your story that I wasn't aware of, just where I always say the journey prepares you for where you're going. And I can see where you've been being prepared from a young age, even the responsibility of maybe even having to shovel. So having to do the things that maybe you don't feel like doing, because entrepreneurship isn't always rainbows and butterflies, and just you have to do a lot of things, to your point earlier, get out of your comfort zone and do things that you get comfortable with the uncomfortable. I like how you said that. Um, you have to do stuff like that in order to grow your company, in order to grow your brand. It's kind of one and the same, growing a brand and growing a company, because there are content creators that they're not necessarily trying to do this full time. They maybe just want it to be a hobby for whatever reasons, but they still want to grow their brand. And the same principles are really applied to both. It's just at one phase, if your brand transitions to a company, then you got to register it with the state, taxes, all that good stuff. But other than that, the foundation is pretty much the same. And so let's talk about some of your creative projects. Now, what came first, the podcast book or you podcasting? So
Um,
obviously podcasting came first.
yeah,
That was kind
podcast.
of
Yeah.
a not a trick question, but really what I'm asking is, writing and podcasting, were you writing in any form or fashion prior to writing this book, or you just, like it said, somebody asked you a question and you're like, all right, I'm gonna write a book, and then bam, here we are.
I've always quietly was a writer.
Okay, okay, shout out to
So
us writers, yes.
yeah, yeah. So that's a very good question. Exclusive information. I
Mm,
love, like I said, being on this side of the mic. I used to do play by plays. I used to watch games
mhm,
and just start writing what I see or
mm,
how it played out. I had my own journal,
okay.
or I would write poems.
Oh, okay,
So in
okay.
my mind, I just
G
start writing
Murph the poet, yes.
once in a while.
Snap, snap, snap. Okay.
Every once in a while, and I
Mhm.
did it for about 2 to 4 years. I would say from middle school to high school, I was really like, "Let me try this writing things," and then,
Mm.
um, a few people told me as far as being the firstborn, start writing down your goals and your dreams because you got a lot against you. Your
Mm.
father not around,
Mhm.
you're a young black man from Gary, Indiana.
Mm.
Start writing your goals down, so when you reach a certain point in your life, you can go back, mental note of the things you wrote down, or keep that journal or keep that paperwork, the things that you wrote down for your goals, short term, long term, futuristic, the unknown, just write it down. And it kind of prepped me for, like you said, the podcast. Before I got frustrated at my employer at that time, I'm not living my life like this.
Mm.
I played basketball with the best. They know who I am.
Okay, y'all better ask about me. That's what he said.
You see what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that to be cocky or boast. Look it up if you ever hear Why Not Sports. Look it up.
Check his resume, y'all. Okay.
And the brands you said it during the introduction, the great Leon Robinson, Yolanda Adams. Like I've had some of the most iconic people in our community and culture bless the platform, and I'm still humble as I was then. So it's a lot of this is coming back full circle. Like I know people that know people, but this time with maturity and some sense, I'm leveraging it now to where I can make sure I don't lose the rapport that I built, unlike I did when I was if I don't come to you, I don't need you. So that kind of mentality bite me in the butt. But however, today, those great people, and of course, people like yourself, every support and supporter and people that listens, it definitely is something I'm thankful for. And it helps me to continue to grow. As you said, you've seen the growth. So yeah, writing has always been a part of it, but I was always a better speaker. If I speak and talk, I can cover up any mistakes. When you write, go back. It's faster just to write. Like I don't text as much. I'd rather call you. Tell what's up. If we going back and forth texting, I might be at work. Or it just if I can talk to you, I can knock it out.
And that is so true, because I am more the texter, like, hey, da 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 da. But when you are trying to reach out, it's the phone call. So yeah, that is definitely
my
so
sister
true.
to this day, she said, I knew your butt was gonna call. If you text me, hey bro, how you been? I'm like, I don't have time. You know what? I got 10 minutes. We can get a lot out in 10 minutes compared to gaps throughout the day.
That is
To where
very true.
that's just my mindset on how I think, especially knowing myself and my schedule. So, but yeah, writing quietly was first, but then I just wanted to do the podcasting route. Just wanted to put myself in a position to where if I'm not gonna get paid for this, I gotta love it. I love to talk
Yes.
sports. I love to bring people together of all, nationalities, ethnicities. Um, you know, the good, bad, and the ugly of sports and how it impacts your everyday life. Mom had me at 16. Father, wasn't around. Failed, relationships, like been on my own. And I know I've had teammates, some former teammates and other people come to me and tell me that I am like a walking, testimony for being someone that has been successful, just staying steady outside of sports. So all those little things, and then people saying, Murph, you have a way of bringing people together, how you speak. I'm like, and again, all this started playing in my head once I got fed up and tired of being sick and tired. So I said, let me try this. Why not sports? Hey, why not sports? I know sports. Why not talk about how sports benefit not just myself, but other people, whether you play everybody didn't shot a basketball before. I don't care if you not
That's
athletic at all. My father, who is non-athletic, he shot a basketball. You don't have to know, hey, when it's the Super Bowl, who house we going to? That's sports. Like you don't
yeah.
have to be a expert in sports to get, the why not sports, mission. And I'm just thanking God that He put something in me from the trials and just the steps and walks of my life to where I can put it out there for free and just do it because I love it. And now over 5 years strong and more dope announcements to come. Uh, it's definitely something special for sure that I'm not gonna have that mentality if I need help. No, hey y'all, I need the support. If you know somebody that knows somebody, hey, send them my way.
So I want to touch on something before we go deeper into your creative endeavors because you said something. You were basically being honest, pulling receipts, reading off your resume and stuff like that, and you said, "I don't say that to be cocky." And I think it's interesting because there has to be a level of confidence. I've had many a conversation with you on the mic, off the mic, and all that
Absolutely.
good stuff, and cockiness is more so like a mentality. When you're spitting facts, facts are just facts. It's just you did this, you did that, you played with the grades. I read your resume that I knew at the beginning. So you've had, yes, Yolanda Adams. I saw that more recently. Definitely had to say David Ruffin. I mean Leon, because that was my favorite temptation in that movie. You know what I mean? And
Facts.
so, you've done what you've done, and I think that I'm more so highlighting this because I want to encourage my listeners that if you are good at something and you are good at something, and you're not trying to puff yourself up to tear someone down, so that's different, you know what I mean? But if you're just spitting facts and you're just saying, "Hey, I am really good at this," listen, if you don't believe in yourself, sometimes other people won't, you know what I mean? And sometimes other people won't believe in you if they see that you don't believe in yourself. So have that confidence. That is something that is definitely important as a content creator, because you have to be confident to step out and try new things. It's definitely important as a manager, because I've had managers that really lacked confidence, and it
Mhm.
really is damaging to the team because they either don't know how to delegate because they don't want their lack of or their inadequacies to be seen, and so they either micromanage or don't delegate to the people that are actually maybe a little bit more skilled, and then it's kind of like you're not empowering your employees. And
Right.
empowered employees are happy employees. Like if employers, excuse me, start investing more into how they make their employees feel about working for them. So how does the employee think that you view them? Do you care about them? Not just do you care about how they're doing their work, but do you actually care about what they're going through when they have a sick child, or if they're sick, or I mean, life is gonna life. So we're all gonna have trials and all that stuff. And I think if employers spent time thinking about that and whatever, you would have a lot less employee turnover, because people don't leave great unless it's a promotion that's like, okay, I can't turn this
Exception to the
down.
rule.
That's different. But we're in a day and age where people are, like you said not too long ago, sick and tired of being sick and tired, and there's so many places hiring, and they will leave and move on and might not even give a 2 week notice depending on what led up to this. So I just think that's super important. But then on the flip side, the person, if you're skilled at something, you are skilled at that for a reason. Like D Murph said, he has had the gift of gab, and he's had all these skills leading up to way before he was podcasting, because the Lord, that's how I look at it. But y'all, the universe, whoever you say does these things, something was preparing him to be doing what he's doing and what he will continue to do, for such a time as this. So, yeah, definitely wanted to highlight that. Now we know Why Not Sports came first. We know that you are on the road to 500. Now,
Woot, woot.
I really tried to figure out how many episodes or how close, but I couldn't because you don't number your episodes. And I went to
Yes.
like Spotify and Apple Podcasts because sometimes it'll say, oh, it has such and such episodes. What said 198 on Apple Podcasts. I'm like, I know that's a lie because he's on the road to 500. And I know it's between, I think, both shows, right? So it's
That's
not
correct. Both
just,
shows.
one, but still, there was no way for me to really figure out how close you are because you almost there, road to 500.
25 now. 25
Okay.
episodes away of the
Okay.
great number of 500 podcasts that I've hosted for the brand.
Mm. Mm. That is, to have 500 episodes, especially to have survived the pandemic, because that's when I started 2019 and then the pandemic hit 2020. So I had about a year in podcasting before the pandemic hit, and I started seeing people. There are people that I haven't seen drop of episodes, and a lot of it was because they couldn't have access to their recording space, and just different things like that. Because not everybody does it online, on an online studio the way that I do it. But I saw a lot of people fall off, and so to not only have that longevity of the years that you've done it, because you've been doing this for years. This is why I call him my OG. You know what I'm
I
saying?
appreciate it.
Because he's dropped gems and gave me game and all this stuff about really just navigating the politics of this industry, because that I talk about it on here a lot. That has been, I feel like, the most frustrating thing. But what I've decided to do is kind of flip that and just educate, because there are going to be new content creators that come through that I would rather you have a more solid and a healthier foundation than the stuff that it doesn't just drive me crazy, it drives a lot of people crazy in group chats, in Twitter retweet group chats, and all this stuff. We talk about this stuff. I just talk about it on my platform because at the end of the day, I'm talking about my life and the ways I'm trying to grow. And even this series falls into it because though I'm highlighting other people who are jack of all trades, I've pretty much shown y'all as I'm telling y'all the different things that I'm doing that I am in this category. And so I wanted to,
You are.
highlight other people. But yeah, 500 episodes, that is crazy. 25 episodes away. So that means somewhere. And then we know, first of all, D Murph. Okay, so between two shows, that's coming soon, really, when you
Yeah.
think about it. But then also, D Murph kind of drops when he wants to drop. He's at that status in the thing, and we expect him to drop, except when he took that break that one time, and we all had to rally together as a people. You know.
Tam was the leader. Well, her avid listeners, I said
Mm,
it on the show when she was on the Flagrant 2. I will tell you this on her platform. She led the way. I tried to disguise it to the
mm,
best of my ability.
mm,
She was like, wait a minute, Murph. It's been months. What's up? Uh,
mm.
but I'm
And
back.
see, people are very lucky right now because I'm so busy. People are getting a lot more leeway because I just feel like, unless now, if you tell us as your listeners, hey, this is the last episode. Like
Mm,
this, a show that I listen to is getting ready to end. They're gonna have their 250th episode, and they've said this is the end of the show. So when you say that, I'm not gonna. I mean, I'm of course gonna be sad to see you go if you're a regular in my rotation, but I respect that some
mm,
stuff is for just a season.
for
But if
sure.
you haven't said that, and then you just fall off. And then y'all, let me tell y'all how he tried to play us. Like he said, he tried to disguise it. So he kept to keep the brand in the front of people's minds. He kept posting content, he kept posting stuff on Instagram. But what I started noticing is he was only posting old episodes. So he would say, yeah, such and such, go back to this episode that aired this date. And the date wasn't today or yesterday or any time within these months. He took a break for months, y'all. And I would tweet at him because
Nice.
that's what I usually do. Y'all heard it. 9 months over there giving birth to a baby, basically.
The
You
birth of Road to 500,
Right,
y'all.
right. He was pregnant with the road to 500 and he didn't want his pregnancy. He wanted the private pregnancy. You know how people just pop out. They gone for like a year and then pop out with a 3 month old and you like, what? So
What
that's what
happened?
he was on. And so
Yeah.
I'm tweeting at him because I'm just like, like, and I would be the type that I would look to make sure I'm not tripping. And I'm like, okay, hold up. He hasn't posted an episode for real, since this date. So I would always do my research first and look, okay, maybe I missed it because, sometimes Spotify can be stupid from what I've
Yeah.
heard,
Real. They can.
and not upload episodes because people will think I didn't and then ask me about it. And I'm like, oh, no, no, no. At this point, we ain't missing no week. So,
Yeah.
but and I'm like, hold up, So I'm tweeting at him, and then finally, I think you had called me for something else,
I
but
told y'all I call. I don't
yeah.
text. I'm gonna call you. Go ahead.
So he called me for something else, and I let him have his little time to shine, and his reason for. And then I had to get on him, like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? Like,
Yeah.
what is happening? And he explained, and I was like, okay, so you'll be back. All right, cool. I'm not gonna be on your neck no more, as long as I know, because like I said, if you tell us, your supporters, your listeners, because
Mm.
when you become a regular in our rotation, we look forward to whatever content you're bringing. We accept it, we embrace it, we appreciate it, and all that good stuff. So then when we don't have that, and there's this void that, yeah, I could listen to another podcast, and I listen to a bunch of different podcasts for different reasons, though. And so when I'm in a certain mood, just like with music, when I'm in a certain mood, that's the playlist I'm going to put together based on what the type of show is. So it's kind of like that interview, that the gems you drop, even though you don't really talk a lot about yourself, but then again, you kind of do as it's, related to your guest, but you really, really use that platform, Flagrant 2, y'all. The real Flagrant 2.
Come
You
on.
feel me? The real
Come on.
Flagrant 2 with D Murph. That was there first, and no
Look it
shade,
up.
you know what I'm saying? No shade to anybody else, but one of the things as a content creator is, man, people stealing content, people wait and do something that you already did and then don't get, and it's something that it's specific. Like, if somebody was to try to come out with a melon intoxicate, come on now. That's why I got a trademark. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because I saw that as a content creator. But I'm not gonna name drop the host of the other counterfeit Flagrant 2, but just know there is another Flagrant 2 out there that is kind of more well known in a sense than D Murph, but let's just know that D Murph was first, you know what I'm saying? And
And
got the
podcast is
papers,
trademark. Yep. Absolutely.
you know what I'm saying? Like, certified in this thing. And again, it's no shade, but it just kind of, it's unfortunate when you see maybe somebody who, so we'll say it like this, because I always try to like be kind and all that stuff, and it's not like I'm being fake, but I never want to bash anybody because everybody has their reasons why they do stuff. So I'll say it like this: Demers said in the beginning that we are indie podcasters, so independent. We don't have big labels backing us. These are not our jobs. These are really hobbies, basically, that we love, and that's why we continue to do it, even though we're not getting paid to do it. The thing about being an indie podcaster is that, and I said this before we started recording, that when people care more about what you know when they know who you are. So when you become someone who's maybe a celebrity and you start a podcast, it's now granted you did the work in your career to get to that point of notoriety and all that good stuff. But it's interesting because they have it a lot easier to build a following and build an audience in a new creative endeavor because podcasting has not been around forever. It's really kind of becoming, it's like newer in the sense that a lot more people are just kind of getting into it and all that good stuff. And so when you have a situation like that, and you have an indie podcaster who's really grinding, that's why networking, support, appreciating the people that support you is huge as an indie podcaster because we're all we have, which is why I don't listen to celebrity podcasts. The only ones that I listen to are Kev on Stage and his wife
Yes, they're
had, which the thing about them is I've watched their journey, not like up close and personal, of course, but I remember when he was just starting to make videos. So to see where he is now is so dope. And they had a podcast, I say had because it has ended, but they had a podcast called the Love Hour Podcast. So I would listen to their podcast, but the thing about it is I would never tweet out that I was listening to it. And the reason why is the reason I tweet out what I'm listening to, it's my way of showing support to the people I'm listening. So it's like, hey, this is what I'm listening to. You might want to check this out too. Oh, let me live tweet certain parts of the episode, if I have time. You might want to check this out too. So that's why I do all of that. It's really not trying to get the attention of the person that I'm listening to because I mean, you know, it's more so that's another way to show support because I'm gonna do it in the ways that are authentic, that I can be consistent with, and stuff like that. And there's another podcast now. They're not necessarily celebrities. I do think they do something not like sports casting or something, but there's a Power After Hours podcast. So it's a Power recap. Y'all know Power is my favorite show. And I found this podcast, I want to say it was probably about season 4 or season 5 of the first Power series is when I found the pod or something like that. It was after I started podcasting, but shortly after. So 2 years ago, I found this podcast and I will listen. But again, I don't tweet it out because they're not like celebrities, but they do have connections. So it's kind of like I just feel like people like that have it a little bit easier. So I'm saying all this to say, so then when you have a celebrity take something from an indie podcaster who we work really hard to build our brands, it just I feel some type of way about that. You know what I'm saying? So if we're talking about the Flagrant 2, this is the real Flagrant 2. You know what I'm saying? This is the
I appreciate
OG certified
that. Mhm.
because while you can't necessarily always get people to stop if they copy a name, you can depending on what it is. But when you
Mhm.
have that registered trade, even when you start the trademark process, that's the beautiful thing. If you
Yep.
start the trademark process on January 7th and then you go ahead and either you might have already been doing it, here's a little free game for y'all. Y'all might have already been doing whatever or you're about to start doing whatever depending on how you want to do it. From the day you file that application is the day that it is backtracked to be registered to. So that's some free game. You don't have to wait the whole 8 to 10 months or, the whole process. And I learned that because I, had gone through my own trademarking journey that I actually ended up doing myself. And I'm glad that I did because then it makes it to where I can explain it to other people, help save y'all some money because these lawyers, man. And I get why they charge what they charge, because to read all that stuff, to make sure it's right and all that, I get it, but you're not getting my money because there's a lot of things that I'm gonna need to trademark, and
In the
no.
future. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot, because you have to trademark it for each class. So
Yeah.
like there are just different things I have plans for, and it's kind of like, okay, that's going to be another trademark and another, and I feel like it's the biggest scam in the world because you know what I'm saying, we know it's, something like melon intoxicate, for example. That's a word I made up. That was not a word. Y'all, it's gonna become a household name in Jesus' name. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's going to be something that people know. We keep it. We're working towards that and growing and all that. But it wasn't a word before, so that's a little bit easier to know. Okay, this, it's called an arbitrary trademark when you have it like that, but the thing about it is you don't legally own anything until you trademark register it
Mm.
with the USPTO. So when you have a celebrity, the whole point of all this, and then we'll get back to the stuff, who does something like that, it's just like, bruh, you come on now. And who knows, maybe I don't know what a flagrant two, if that's a sports term or what that means, to where he could have maybe just happened to come up with it on his own, but it's not really. I know what a flagrant foul is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But so but this is the real one. You know what I'm saying?
I'll give my
Certified.
take. I think, and then I'll give my take, and then I'll talk about the second podcast. So for me, it was a mutual person that knew myself and
Mm.
other the other host.
Okay, exclusive, hot on the press.
Absolutely.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So
Okay.
when it came to my attention, and the host, and like you said, I'm not going to be messy. You can look it up. But the
Yeah.
host gave me a shout out a few times. But my competitive nature was like, dude, you're not going to knock me off this pedestal.
Right.
I
And
have the
as you
business mindset
should.
to where I'm going to get the right proper documents. Might pin tweet. So that's another thing. Whenever you go into anything, when it's out there, I started trademarking Why Not Sports before I even push record.
Mm.
Flagrant 2 was in the works
Mhm.
right after.
Mhm.
I knew, like you said, I knew what I was going to put out for the world. Somebody was going to catch to it and try
Mhm.
to take what I've built and what I've started.
Mm.
I
And
knew
when
that.
and when you have something dope, such as the names and even what they stand for and what they do, that's when people do it. Now, if your show was simply just called Derek Murphy's Life, you know what I'm saying? That's a little harder. Tamara till the break of dawn. Unless your name is Tamara Dawn, which I mean, there are other Tamara Dawns out there, but it's a little bit less likely that you're going to want to steal that versus something like Melon Intoxicate that is not associated with me personally. You know what I mean? So, but I did not. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah, yes. And that's like you said, the politics of this business. And that's anything in life. You know what I mean? So you kind of got to keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. And that makes sense. Because it's
Mm-hmm.
like, yo, you think me personally, the sports wave has opened up so many doors to where even to this day, people like, yo, I want to do a sports podcast now.
Mm.
I see what you're doing or what you've done, Murph. I love it. I gotta follow that wave or follow that train.
Mm-hmm.
It's the person behind it all that makes the difference.
And guess what,
That's another
y'all?
story.
Guess
That's
what,
another
y'all?
story.
He's certified.
In your face, sucker.
Yeah, yeah,
I love it.
certified. So,
But
the fact,
I think
mm, mm,
I was
mm.
just going to add. I think that person, because of their status, so to speak, thought I was going to get intimidated, and I'm sure they've done it before. And I'm very confident in myself and what I bring to the table. And no knock against him or the person that mutually, maybe he was trying to, hey man, this is dope guy I think you should meet. And maybe it was kind of like, oh, it's like, oh, I like, let me, I won't make it a society culture. I'll make it a sports show. That way it don't be a conflict of interest. It's still, anyway, yeah, I'm still here,
Mm.
strong,
And the
road to
thing
5.
about it, see, again, characteristics of a leader, characteristics that an entrepreneur has to have is everybody has a calling, everybody has a purpose, which is basically what I hear you saying that as we get
Absolutely.
into how podcasting gave me my groove back, but it gave you a sense of purpose. And when everybody has a purpose, everybody has a calling, it looks different than, for everybody. So with celebrities, their calling or their purpose or whatever, it just gets them more money and more notoriety. But there's a lot of responsibility that comes with having these platforms, but these are just regular people. You know what I'm saying? Like I love Power. I watch every Power series. I watched all of series 1. I've watched book 2. I watched Raising Kanan. I will watch Force when it comes out. And even though I don't understand why Governor Tate needs a series, I'm gonna see what they hidden for with that just to see,
You know, uh,
I love it, and there are actors such as Lorenz Tate and even Michael Rainey Jr. And the only reason I'm dropping names is because I'm going to be saying something positive about them. That I've watched their careers for years. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't. Oh, Mary J. Blige, of course,
thank you,
Method
man.
Man on the newer series, but and even Lulu from Raising Kanan, I watched him
Mm,
on Snowfall. So
mm,
that's not as long as the other people. So I say all that to say I have respected their work and their creative endeavors basically for years. That doesn't mean I know them. That doesn't mean that they are any better than me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Do y'all even care about people? And I'm not saying y'all don't, but I don't know. Are you kind to people? Are you humble? Are you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know y'all. So, like, you being a celebrity or somebody even being like a pastor or somebody being a CEO, I've always had that mindset that you are just a regular person, just like me. Your job is different. Your income bracket might be a little higher, and that's cool, but that doesn't make you any better than me. And that's the mindset that you have, the boss mindset. Being a boss is a mindset. The problem we have in a lot of places of employment is when you have a supervisor or a manager who isn't really a leader. You know what I mean? Who isn't really doesn't have that boss mindset, that it's not something you could fake. It's just in you and it's always been in you. And so, of course, you weren't going to be intimidated by that because bosses ain't worried about, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. What they say, lions ain't worried about the sheep or,
mhm.
whatever. Eagles ain't worried about the roosters or,
That's fact.
So, yeah, of course.
That's fact.
Mm, mm, mm,
Another
mm.
thing I was going to add to that too, whatever's for you, no man can take from you anyway. Period.
Woo! Say that. Yes.
Part of my
Facts.
confidence is a lot of that because I was in the lab before the world even knew what
Mm,
was going to go to the direction that it was going. How
mm.
podcasting helped me get my groove back.
Okay, Stella.
Like I told you, for a minute, I had to make some tough decisions. Like, man,
mm.
I was that dude. I stepped foot, especially in high school. Murph coming to town. Boo. Overrated.
mm.
All of it. But I loved it. I thrived off that. I played better away.
Mm.
Just 'cause back was always against the wall. You know.
Mhm. Mm, mm,
So
mm,
being in the
mm.
corporate world, daily routine. It's
Yeah.
not fun. I want some pushback.
Mm,
Or I want some love if I step foot in your area or your town.
yeah.
Now podcasting, if I go to Nebraska, Tam, what up? I go
Mm-hmm.
to LA, BTG, what up?
Shout out, shout out.
You know, up north, what up, my peoples? East Coast, what up, my peoples?
Mm-hmm.
I can do that now. And
Mm,
it's all love. So just podcasting, the support, the love that I've been able to, get from the grind and like you said, just me being myself is something I don't take lightly. And if I can help support and, you know, provide gems or just my journey, let people know, like I said, people want to do a sports show now because they see the direction that the brand has, been through just because
mm-hmm.
the sports show started it all.
Mm.
Then here we are, Flagrant 2. I got that one listen like, thank you, Murph. I don't know you like that, but this Flagrant sounds so interesting. So my father, love him. Shout out to Mr. Murphy Sr. I'm Junior.
Okay, okay.
I wanted to, as I allow people in my circle or in my world, I want people to know this was the man that hurt me.
Mm.
Also, this was the man that helped me. Hurt me because he wasn't there. Father's Day, people having their parents or their dad come to school, whatever. My
Mm-hmm.
pops. Love you, pops. Episode part 1. He was in the 6x9. He was locked up. Again, the
Mm.
story, he told the story. That episode had so many positive reviews that I had people like Murph. Okay, you the sports guy. I don't want that. I want raw, uncut content. We
Mm.
need that. I'm like, do I need to do more work? I just want to be the sports guy. I didn't want to come in and I'm about to knock this podcast game world out. A few people, shout out to Black Paco, who he's retired now, he told me. But he was like, yo, you got to do it, man. I'm like, dude, I just came into the game 4 months ago. Like,
Mm.
I'm barely trying to get one off the ground. Two, do it. I said, I always knew I was a talker. I always knew I knew more than sports. I just wanted to kind of ease my way,
Mm-hmm.
Like we said, the corporate world. If you come in gung ho, they like, oh, you want to do this, you want to do this, but they're not going to pay you
Mm.
the.
Mm. Whew, just
So
had a
I had,
conversation with somebody about something like that. Sometimes y'all got to hold back so you don't end up having to do everything while other people do nothing. Yes. Yep.
I was tired of being sick and tired because all I know how to do is give 190% everything I
Mhm.
do. So I
Mhm.
was like, I don't want to do the second podcast. But I said, you know what? 10-minute episodes about my life other than sports. Emails started coming, DMs. Murph, I would love to be on your show to tell my story.
Mm.
Like, but it's not a sports show. Okay, well, when you figure it out, I'm ready. So, you being a sports guy, still, that's in the core. I'm like, I want to keep it sportsy because that's just who I am. I'm like, hmm, flagrant foul. No, that's no, that don't sound good. Roughing the pass. No, it's still sports. Flagrant 2. When you have a flagrant 2, you get ejected from the game because you went above and beyond the rules and regulations. That was unacceptable.
Mm. Okay, okay.
Murph, that's the title of your show, your next
Mm.
podcast. We
Mm.
want, we want that above and beyond. We want people to just let it all out. If they get ejected or kicked out of the game, they help somebody out
Mm.
based on their testimony, based on their story. Flagrant 2 with D Murph. That's why I stamped D Murph on my brand
Mm.
for people that want to supposedly, bite. And Flagrant
Mhm.
2, here it is, where the Flagrant 2 has had more guests than Why Not Sports.
Mm.
In the last 2 years, Flagrant 2 has had more downloads.
Mm. Mm.
Same
Mm. Mm.
person.
Yep. But when you're a jack of all trades, like I mean, even in the content creator world, author, and we haven't even got all the way into that yet, but it's
Right,
like
right.
when you can do multiple things, the thing about jack of all trades, and I've really been doing a little bit more research about this since I started this series. This is going to be a monthly series, y'all. So this is
Okay.
volume 2. Volume 3 will be next month with a different guest. So this is going to be a monthly thing. And the reason why is because there are so many people out here making so many different waves. But I was doing a little bit of research, and then Lindsay, shout out to her. She was actually the first guest for this series. So she sent me this video clip too. So one, I saw on a meme or something like that where it's like jack of all trades, master of all. So I just want y'all to marinate on that for a little bit, because we normally hear jack of all trades, master of none. That's what we normally hear, which has
Yeah,
a negative connotation to it, almost like you're not really mastering anything, you're just doing all these different things. That is
yeah.
not what I subscribe to. So I want to flip y'all perspective on this. So okay, jack of all trades, master of all, I saw online. And then I was listening to this, like I said, Lindsay sent me this video where it was saying, and I want to get it right. The phrase is actually jack of all trades, master of none, because it's better than mastering one, or something like that, which has a more positive connotation, to the point of when you're a jack of all trades, you master whatever you are doing. Like there's levels to this. So
Yes.
you don't just do a bunch of different random things that you don't feel like you're good at, because that competition, I have that too, you know what I'm saying? That perfectionism, even that giving above and beyond 100%. I pour my all into everything at everybody's company. This is why I've always gotten promoted. And so a jack of all trades, master of all. We master everything that we do. We are going to continue to grow and develop it and make sure that it is something good. We're going to continue to grow. You seeing D Murph even go from just audio to visuals on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. Yeah.
even at his 5 years in the game, when you're a master of all things, just like you said, it used to be, and I used to be the same way. I got this unless I tell you I need help. The older we get, the wiser we get. And it's like, you know what? Let me at least consider what you're saying. I might
Yes.
not agree with it right away. I got to see if it, if it really is. And then it's like, what I usually do is I usually go back to the people, and it's like, I remember you said this, you were right. You know what I mean? Because I want people to understand that the seeds they planted
Yeah.
is producing fruit. You feel me? You know what I mean?
Nice.
So, master of all. I want y'all to understand that, like the
I like
jack of
that.
all trades, and I'm highlighting it. Everyone you see that's going to be on here in this series is going to be somebody dope who I'm seeing doing multiple, or I just know, because it's not going to only be content creators. Although, in a sense, that term is such a broad term, you know what I'm saying? Because anything you post on social media is content.
Content. Yep.
So what I will say is it's not only people that I met in the podcast world, because obviously Lindsay, she's been my friend for 12 years. So I've seen her. We've been kind of parallel in our journey for years.
Nice.
But I know a lot of dope people that are doing multiple different things, and they're mastering it, and they're continuing to grow and evolve. And that's what it's all about. You master all. You just can master a lot of different things. And that's why this man is on the road to 500 and has two different shows that are completely different, but at the same time, the core of who he is always like he's gonna be him wherever he goes. So it's gonna be a part of each show, but it's like it's a different focus. And I wanna highlight Flagrant 2. I have actually never listened to Why Not Sports. Just Flagrant 2 has always been that's how I found, actually I won't even say that. I listened to, so here's a fun fact, y'all. Okay. Now, I don't know where D Murph saw me or how, I mean, obviously Twitter, but
Yeah, it was on
you
Twitter.
you never know who's paying attention until they reach out. And so this was at the beginning of my podcasting stage when I'm newer to being active on Twitter all the time and being active with like strangers on Instagram. So, as I've talked on here before, these random DMs that I get from men sometimes. Now it hasn't happened in a while. Praise Jesus. Whatever door you close, just go on and keep it sealed with the blood of Jesus. You feel me? Because I ain't got
Amen.
time. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got time for that. But in the beginning, I used to get so many weird DMs, and it used to like frustrate me. And then there's the balance of trying to figure out, okay, is this a podcaster who's trying to network, or is this just some random man that just saw you on Twitter? So with D Murph, he invited me to be a guest on his show. And that's actually the first guest spot that I've ever had on anybody's show. And it's interesting because I remember my first guest spot. And so the listeners of yours that have heard me on a few times, I know y'all saw that I got more comfortable because I also got more comfortable on the mic, period. You know what I'm saying? And as I get more comfortable, and also I'm just growing because I'm older and maturing. And once you hit 40, listen, ain't nobody trying to be worried about nobody's opinion that isn't there with me in the darkest moments of my life. I am by myself. So I could care less. That's why I am the way I am. I am 41. People say I don't look it. That's amazing. I am blessed because on both sides of my DNA, we age well. You know what I'm saying? Double portion. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Plus, black don't crack. So it's all of that mixed together that people don't often think I am my age, but I need to be my age because my kids are 18, 19, and 22. So the ages y'all be trying to give me sometimes, that can't be my age at all. You know what I'm saying? Um, and so I remember when D Murph DM'd me, invited me to be on his show. And so I had never heard of his show. I didn't know who he was. So I actually, before I responded to the message, I went to his page and like did some research because I'm like, is this a real podcaster? Or because again, like I said, I was newer to the weirdness. Twitter can be a very weird place.
Yeah,
So
that's real.
I did some research. I listened to an episode, and I think on the episode you said something about your wife, like in passing. Because again, y'all, he doesn't really talk a lot about himself. He really highlights the guests.
Try not to.
Yeah, but as things come up, he will reveal about his life. So I was like, okay, well, he's married and he has a real show. So this doesn't seem like it's any weird stuff. All right, cool. I'll go ahead and do it because this could be an opportunity that just to grow myself, because again, getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. I was so nervous. Thank God he didn't have visuals back then, because y'all would have saw how nervous I was because I had never been a guest on anybody's show. But just the friendship that has come from that,
Absolutely.
I'm very grateful that I, again, as you said, got comfortable with the uncomfortable, because that's how I've met some of the dopest podcasters and have built friendships by, okay, I'm a guest on their show or they're a guest on my show. And then either before or after, there's usually conversation. And then you just keep building that rapport. And then for some people, it gets to, oh, let me call this person and see how they're doing, or text them or whatever. And so because Flagrant 2 was the first one that popped up, that's the one that I listened to. and which I'm kind of glad I did, because if I would have listened to Why Not Sports, I would have been like, well, why is he inviting me on this show? And I probably would have said no, because
That's all good.
I don't say yes to everything. I say
Right.
no if it doesn't make sense, because I'm not just out here like, I'm trying to grow my brand, but in the ways again that are
That's your
authentic.
line.
You know what I'm
And I still
saying?
get that. Not as much, but there was a moment. It was I think around that time, it was like, which I still, to the podcast community, was still defining myself. But then,
Mm,
oh, that's Murph. Is either what? Why not Sports or Flagrant 2? They wasn't sure, but now the brand it has a solid foundation to where it's like,
yeah,
okay, we know we're doing Flagrant 2. I'm not doing Why Not Sports, or I'm not doing Flagrant 2. I'm doing Why Not Sports. So it's comfortable now that
yeah.
people now know, though, he has multiple shows. More than likely, it's like a code. I'm not gonna do that one, but I'll for sure do that one.
So Flagrant 2, y'all, is the show where D Murph highlights. I mean, we've talked about some of the celebrities, but he'll even, I mean, speaking of celebrities, let's talk about how his cousin is like Miss Indiana. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to her. That was such a dope episode to listen to,
Thank
because I love hearing people's journey. Beautiful, beautiful girl. And I say girl because she's younger than
you.
me. She's definitely an adult, y'all. But
Yeah,
beautiful, beautiful woman. But even just, I heard the beauty within her, because I didn't know, I hadn't seen her. And then it's after, people share the socials, I got to look and I was like, oh, wow. You know what I'm saying? But such an inspiring such an
mm,
inspiring episode, like so dope. So he has had a variety of different people. When I was first on there, I was new in podcasting, didn't have a company, didn't have a brand. I was a social worker and shared my story. So it's like he has different people on there. And I'm highlighting this because, as you've shared, and I even understand it on a greater level now, just the success that you've had, the people you've rubbed elbows with, and all that. A lot of times in this industry, people don't want to share the spotlight. They want it to be all about them. They don't want to share their platform and all these things. And you so willingly share it and also pour into newer podcasters that, you feel led to, come up
yes,
under your wing and all that stuff, because of the success. I don't want to even just say the success, but the longevity, because the longer you do something and the more you master it, you learn a lot that you can share with others. So ultimately, you're an educator by nature, even though you may not have, worked that job
that's good.
professionally.
That's good.
But what is it in you that makes you want to just highlight other people and not really make it about you? Every time you talk about yourself on your show, you always, but this isn't about me. Like, you only go so far with it. I hear that every episode. I'm not gonna say you talk about yourself every episode, because you don't. But when you maybe feel like you've gone too long, even though, y'all, it ain't even
I
like
can,
he's talking that long.
yeah. Right. No, I get it. To answer your question, once I got a certain level of how podcasting helped me get my groove back,
Mm,
my mind shifted.
mm,
Lord, one of my prayers, Lord, if you help me get back in a position to where I had the contacts of people of influence, I promise you, I will not have that mindset of I can do it by myself. You've
mm,
blessed me with so much to where if I get back in position, I promise you it will shift, because you're gonna bless me 100-fold because my intentions and
mm-hmm,
my motive for other people. And he's displaying that.
mm,
And when I have the Leons, the Yolanda Adams, they see the same thing to say, I saw in you. This person, you know what? I got her or I got him.
mm,
I see what they're doing. Why
mm,
not lend a hand?
Mm.
Comes back full circle.
Yes, I love that. I love people who pay it forward, people who invest into the next generation, however you want to word that. Just it's all about supporting people and helping people. And and you do that. But let's talk about, because you don't get to really talk about this on your show from this side of things. It's usually been me as the guest. Let's talk about the backside of that because, like you just said, when you have the Leons and you have the Yolanda Adams, and there have been other celebrities, so those are just
Bow-legged Lou,
yeah,
um,
one of the Wild and Out girls I saw was
Maddie
on
Smith.
there.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
So it's
Dope,
like
dope.
he has had a lot of celebrities. And even when I went to his website and just saw all the pictures just going by on the slideshow, I was like, oh, okay, 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 So, but I'm mentioning the more well known. I mean, pretty much everybody knows who Yolanda Adams is. Pretty
Yep.
much everybody knows who Leon is. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right,
You know,
right,
you
right.
know he has been in so many different roles. So the backside of that, we the audience, we the supporters, we see stuff like, ooh, Yolanda Adams, ooh, Leon, ooh, Bow-legged Lou, for the people that know who that is. You know what I'm saying? We see these
House
people.
Party. I'ma kick you. Oh, I gotta
Well,
look.
of course
You know
I
that.
know, but yeah, y'all that might not have known,
I
House
not know.
Party back in the day, good movie. Um, so people will see this, and then there are two groups of people, and I want you to talk about the second group. So the first group of people is the regular people, maybe like me, and there's a lot of people like me who they see that, and we're just like, wow, that's dope. That's so good for him. Okay, boom. I'm gonna listen to that episode because I want to see what this person is talking about, just like we listen to any other episode. And we don't try to gain anything from it. You know what I'm saying? We support you as we normally do, and we just keep it pushing. We don't look at this as a ticket for us to try to gain from the hard work. Because the thing about when God elevates you, and I could say this because I know this is how you view things too. When God elevates you, He's prepared you for this, and people see the blessings, the success, all that, but they didn't see the journey of what it was for you to get there and to be someone who could have been a professional athlete and had to walk away from that. Man, I can only imagine what that was like mentally. You know what I mean? And also having to maybe defend yourself and your decision of what was best for your life to people that don't understand or didn't understand. So that's the first group of people. It's the people that just are like, wow, that's dope. Then you have the second group of people. And the second group of people, they see this, they see the wave you're creating, as we like to say, and they say, you know what? I see Murph's wave that he's creating. I see he has connections with Yolanda Adams, Leon, and every other celebrity that's been on there. DJ something, and I actually listen.
DJ whatever.
Yeah, a lot of different people on there. So I see these connections that this man has, and I see the wave that he's creating. Miss Indiana, even regardless if it's your cousin, she ain't have to say yes. You know what I'm saying? Like she's
And
busy
I got
out
that
here.
invite to Tulsa, Oklahoma for Miss USA.
Yep, and I
Never
saw
in my
that. I
life
saw those
I would
pictures.
have like. Anyway, that was still remarkable moment. Yeah.
So, therefore, you have those people that say, I see Murph has his wave. I'm going to grab my surfboard, though, and I'm going to try to ride his wave. I'm going to try to be on his show. I'm going to try to whatever. Not because I really care about what he's doing, but it's
Mhm.
because I want to benefit from the hard work he's doing. So I want you to talk about that side of things because I don't think people understand that there is always a backside to every blessing, some sort of frustration that you have to navigate.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Hmm.
One thing that helps me out, knowing and my accountant mathematical side kicks in a lot. It's they say over 7 billion people. It's gonna be a lot of no's.
Mm.
That one yes makes the biggest difference. So
Mhm.
out of 9, 10 no's, that one yes. Remember, over 5 years, road to 500. I've had a lot of no's.
Mm.
I've had a lot of no responses.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I wrote those short term goals, long term goals. Guess that inspired me as a kid. Full Force, House Party, one of the greatest movies. Like who didn't watch House Party growing up?
Mm.
So that's one of my key things was my favorite movies and people that had an impact in that movie. Above the Rim,
Wow.
Five Heartbeats, Cool Runnings, Leon Robinson, Gospel,
Okay.
Yolanda Adams. So I'm writing down people that if that time come, I don't need notes. I've seen enough because
Mm.
you've inspired me or you gave me a sense of belief that I can one day collaborate with you.
Mhm.
Um, but for those people that want to ride the wave that's not for them, as I
Mm.
stated earlier, what's for you, no man can take.
Mm.
A lot of imposters. You got you got a lot of false
Hmm.
prophets. I'm no taking it to another level, but
No, that's okay.
it helps me discern on how to
Mhm.
move. And not to say I'm not perfect, but I do have supporters. I have a team. I have my family that if I have questions about a person or potential guest, and I get a lot of emails and DMs. What you think about this person? What you think? And then we go back like, if it don't align, it don't align. But
Mm.
it has to be mutually beneficial for both.
Woo!
Mm.
Wait a minute. Say that again. Say that again. Say that again.
It
It
has
has
to
to be
be
what?
mutually benefit both parties.
Mm.
I'm very confident, but I'm not selfish. I'm if I am considered selfish because I told you no,
Mm.
or because the timing is off. I'm not selfish. It's just not in alignment of me and or my brand. So when I wrote down people that influenced me or who helped me get over humps or trials and tribulations of my life, I wanted to just showcase them on my platform to say thank you and that you taking time out of your busy schedule or your schedule when you could have been doing anything else in the world.
Mm.
That is going to help me seek the unknown and do the unknown as an independent. So I just want to tell you thank you and whatever I can do to, show continue support. There's basically no questions. I got you. But it's good to see because then I'm a fan, or I don't even say a fan. I'm a spectator. That's where I'm a spectator because I'm watching because I've been in this game. I know the politics, whether it's the paperwork, whether it's how you move
Mm.
or who you talk to.
Mm.
I can see those things. It's like you can see it before it even happens. And
Mhm.
any great or any potential, when you see in people, you kind of know the motive, the
Mm.
intention. Kind of know, just like they even told me, Derek or Murph. I had a good feel of who you are,
Mhm.
and I've heard your shows, and it's been consistent. The
Mhm.
longevity. It's not like 6 months, a year, 2 years. Like no, you've shown man, woman, famous, not famous, white,
Mhm.
black. Like this is this okay. I think we have a good understanding.
Mhm.
I'm willing to pour and help someone like you out. But this trying to be the yes man, I tell people this all the time, will not get you that far. Trying to please everybody will not get you far.
Mm.
Like you said, we at an age now. It's either you rock with me or you don't. Like
That part.
no new friends, like that makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
You want to come now?
Yeah.
You were at the beginning when I was in the gym shooting them
When
jump
I,
shots.
right, you wasn't with me when I was hooping in the gym.
Tam said, Murph, you were the first guest appearance I had. Here we are later on down the road, over 100 episodes.
Hmm.
You know, you and what you blessed us with. A lot of time as a podcaster, seeing the growth. You know, if you need me, where to find me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
when you know, you know. That's the simplest way I can put it, you know. But for those who want to, you know, take that wave, it's all about the inside. People
Mm.
gonna see the real you at the end of the day. Like,
Mm-hmm.
people, we're in the house more now than what we was back then. So any fakeness is gonna be so obvious because
Oh
it's kind of like
yeah.
you can't keep disguising the fakeness. It's going to reveal itself fast because we're at home more now, so we
Mm-hmm.
see your posts or your videos or listen to your shows and be like, I don't have to think about, for me to have 500 episodes coming, I didn't have to think about what I tell Tam, what
Mm.
I on this show.
Okay. That's
I
right.
can keep my eyes closed and just spit
Mm-hmm.
without no conscience. And I think because internally, the personal development, the up late at night when the family sleep,
Mm-hmm.
thinking of different ideas or writing down
Mm-hmm.
my goal, or okay, I did here. Let me go hear one of my old episodes. How could I have presented myself different? Or how was my delivery? Or how was my editing? Like, I still critique. I'm still my hardest critic.
Mm.
And it's not a pressure. I just love what we do. I give
Mm-hmm.
100, like I said, 90% in everything I do. And if I do have a first time listener, I want them to be like, hmm, he talks about his family, or he talks about what we talked about, jack of all trades. Like, man,
Mm-hmm.
sports guy, he's been here, and I see you, we all see you, and it's not gonna get you that far if you're not being your genuine self. So, like, I
Mm.
don't have no issue with saying no, because guess what, I got kids that's gonna keep me occupied. I can, oh, they don't like me, or they unfollow me, or they cuss me out for not collaborating with them, or I don't rock with them no more. I got bougie. Whatever. I got
Mm-hmm.
stories on the other side to where I'm not even phased by it no more because they're not on Tam to the Break of Dawn show. I don't think they're a multi-award winner.
Mm.
I don't think they have years of consistent content and people that support them that has been iconic or has been very positive when it comes to, you know, the Black community. So I can sleep at night. If that answers your question.
Oh yeah, beautifully. And I just want to encourage y'all that are, because there's nothing wrong with wanting to collaborate with people, but like he said, it's the intent. And if your intent, like my intent for having any guest on my show, and this is why y'all kind of notice I have a lot of the same people, or I'll start having new people, but it's as I am on that. If it's not really, we'll use 12 Cal for example. He was just a guest. I had been thinking for a while, and I
The
don't know
big
if I,
bro.
yeah, yeah. And I don't know if I said it on the show or if I said it just to him, but it had been on my mind for a while. I want to have him on the show. What does that look like? And for whatever reason, even though I knew he would talk about music, I wanted it to be something different. That is how I have all of my guests on here. It's,
Oh,
this is what I want to talk about on my show. Who, because what y'all got to remember is, besides discernment of the Lord, so we got to have that discernment just dealing with people, but especially in this industry, you know what I'm saying? Because that mutually beneficial thing is super important, because this is almost like work. These are like our coworkers, even friendships. Every relationship should be mutually beneficial. Ain't no leeches, ain't nobody draining you. That is unhealthy. And the thing about it is that when it comes to the guests that I have on this show and stuff, I have a degree in psychology, and so I pay attention to behavior patterns of people. You know what I'm saying? And like you just said, if it's not authentic, after a while, they're not going to be able to keep up with that. You know what I'm saying? That consistency of character or whatever. I don't have to think about same thing. Dang, what happened the last time he was on here? Did I mess up or did I say something I wasn't supposed to say or did I whatever? Because this is just who we are. You know what I'm saying? And so when I have guests on, it's a guest that I know it is going to add value based on what I already know about them. So that means I know I could kind of joke with you. Because if I
Mhm.
can't joke with you,
Oh
we're not
yeah.
finna have no dry episode where
Awkward.
you know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna be me regardless. So I'm gonna
Absolutely.
do my research if I don't like, just to make sure, depending on what the show is about. Like something like this, I had to do a little bit more research because I'm like, okay, I know why I'm having him on here, but I need to be able
Right.
to, spit the facts. And he does the same thing. You know what I'm saying? He'll quote stuff from your Twitter bio. He'll quote stuff
Mhm.
from places that it's like, where did you find this? You got to do your research when you're trying to highlight somebody so that you can get them to talk about what you wanted them to talk about. But I wanted to have you talk about that because I know on your platform, you can't really talk about it as plainly as that
Yeah.
just because of the nature of the show and more so like you're highlighting somebody else. So I
Mhm.
definitely wanted you to touch on that. And then before we get up out of here, there's just a couple more things, y'all. But y'all already know I could do an hour by myself. So, it's
I got that
nothing.
one listener though, T. She like, wait a minute, Murph, do you talk like this? Just for Tam, y'all. Just for Tam. I would have been done. Mad at my business.
And that
But
is
just for
very
Tam,
true. When
I got
you get on his show, he be like, it's gonna be an hour in and out, boom. But I appreciate you
you. No doubt. No doubt.
diving in, digging in, going a little deeper because those of y'all and that are listeners that know who D Murph is, you already kind of see the caliber of content creator he is. Just like people are not gonna come on just to come on. You know what I'm saying? But then you also see his consistency. You see that he is consistently faithful with two different shows. And then there's other things that you might not have known about him. Like you might not have known that he has a children's book coming out. Let's talk about that. Now, I heard about that actually. Shout out to Autumn. So I was
Yes.
listening to the
Yes.
episode you did with
Yes.
her. Exclusive information.
Yeah.
So, is this something you've already started? Because I didn't even know about the other book until I started doing my. I was like, oh, he's already an author. Okay, so he
Yeah.
already
Yeah.
is a published author. Like he's
Yep.
not new to this. He's just
Yes.
developing and
Yes. Yes.
growing, and mastering it even more. So let's talk about that because that is a friend of mine is a children's author and it's so dope. She does social skills books for people of color. So she'll have little black boys and little black girls on the cover art or whatever it's called, the book cover. But this is exciting. So you're like, this is for real. It's happening, right?
Oh, no doubt. It
Yeah, yeah.
should by the first quarter of 2022, it'll be done. It was inspired by my youngest,
Hmm.
Darian. So if you check my Twitter, you can check the media. You'll see the picture. The most recent one, we went to the LA Lakers game.
Okay, okay, yep. I saw that.
That's Darian. That's the baby boy. Dad Murphy. That's what he calls me. Dad
Hmm.
Murphy is,
Okay.
Dad Murphy this. Dad Murphy that. I'm like, boy, like Dad Murphy. So that's the
That's
title of the
funny.
book. Dad Murphy Adventures.
Oh,
He's the baby boy. So just kind of my life as a dad and the
I
different.
love it.
It's an adventure
Oh
being
yeah.
a parent. You
Mhm.
so it's Dad Murphy Adventures. Just this first particular book.
Oh, first, so
Yeah,
because I was just about to ask, is there multiple?
be a
Because if it's
series. Oh yeah,
adventures plural, that's more than one adventure. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
it's gonna be absolutely. It's gonna be a series. The first one is gonna be when I was able to get my daughter and the boys together on on them seeing her play for the very first time.
Mm.
So
Wow. This is
so
exciting.
this series
Okay.
is gonna be when, when she was starting to drive and she in her high school puberty. Like I already got it exclusive. I got it mapped out to where I can do a few series or make it a series and then on to the next project.
Mm. Okay. This is Dada Murph. Okay. Dada
And that
Murphy.
Murphy Adventures. Yes,
Okay.
indeed.
Okay.
Yep.
It's so funny because Dada would be sufficient, but the fact that he basically adds your last name, you know what I'm saying, is just hilarious.
I didn't make it up.
I
If he was
know.
here right now, I'm like, D, what up, Dada? Why you call me Dada Murphy? And my youngest loves to talk.
Mm. Okay, future content creator, future something,
I he came up with
speaker.
he's very articulate and he's
Mm.
even when he speaks, I do this. Yes, son. Like I have to make sure I give him my undivided attention. But
Mm-hmm.
I bring him up because I out of all of them, and I love all my kids. They got that daddy part in them. Shout out to their moms too. But him, yeah, he might be the speaker of the children.
There's always that one child that is the most like you when you have more than one child. And it's very interesting because then sometimes, like, I learn a lot about myself as I watch my kids and I
Absolutely.
see different parts of me in all three of them. You
Absolutely.
know, my son is the content creator, so he's has his music that he's really like being consistent with creating, and his grind as a rapper or a musician, or because he's trying like different things. It's been very interesting to watch his journey, but his grind is very similar to mine. He does everything himself. Now I've given him pointers on like, hey, put your, Spotify, or what does he have? SoundCloud or whatever. I am the mother of a SoundCloud rapper, y'all. I just wanted to put that out there.
That's dope.
But put your SoundCloud link in your bio to make it easier. Just the efficiencies of how to
Mhm,
make it easier for people to support you. I'm very much administratively minded when it comes to stuff like that, which is very helpful as a content creator because it's really what helps me have a solid foundation to keep going. But Dad Murphy. Okay, all right. And it's almost done, y'all. So I want y'all to follow D Murph on social media, stay up with what he's doing, listen to his podcast. You have two to choose from. So if you're
yes.
more of a sports person, boom. If you want to hear about a lot of different people and their lives, and there somebody is always dropping gems. So it's not your typical, you hear about somebody's life and it's messy. Although there is definitely room for messy podcasts in my rotation. People who are being petty, people who are doing things
Oh
that
yeah.
I don't do on my platform because that's not what this is, but it doesn't mean that I'm not petty in a group chat. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that I'm not maybe a little bit petty in a conversation. Never maliciously though, more so
I
with
will not.
humor. But there is definitely always inspiring whenever I listen to anyone on there. And again, he's had and if I'm honest, besides the DJ whatever, the episodes that I've listened to and Miss Indiana have not really been celebrities. They've either been, because I have my rotation, so I'll come back through and pick an episode. But they've either been other podcasters or they've been other just people that
Mhm.
and so they all drop gems though, y'all. It's
Thank you.
about overcoming. Some stuff is related to, excuse me, faith. You know what I'm saying? And of course, that's a big part of my life. And if you listen, it has to be somewhat of a part of yours in the sense that you're trying to at least be spiritually healthy. Because why would
Yes.
you listen to me talk about that if you didn't care about it?
Right. 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 Right.
So two things before we get up out of here. Two questions, and then I'll have you plug yourselves or whatever. So while you're doing all this, you are a husband, you are a father. How old is baby Murph? How old is he? 5?
4.
4, even younger. And you have older kids too. So he has different ages of children to tend to. I have been on a recording with him where I have seen them go across the back of the screen. So these are kids that want to be involved and want to
Yes.
be around their daddy. He has a good relationship with them. You are a corporate manager, so that's a whole different other set of responsibilities. And a content creator and an author is still a content creator, but that's different type of content. Like, so you're doing all of this and doing it well, mastering
Thank
all of these things. I know family is important to you. I
you.
know spending time with your family is a priority over anything else, right? But how do you have balance for yourself as you're mastering all of these things? What does it look like for you to have self-care for yourself? Because the only reason that you're able to keep going is because you make sure you take care of yourself. So what does
Yes.
that look like for you? Daily, weekly, monthly, or talk to the people about that?
The fact that I took that 9-month break, I knew I had to do something different, not negatively different, but I had to be more strategic
Mm.
and be more or prioritize how I did my shows,
Mm-hmm.
how I did my everyday life. Like you said, self-care. Um, the brand has given me so much confidence that I do not put as much emphasis on my corporate job now because the brand is growing.
Mm.
Because that last year, it really took a lot out of me.
Mm.
It was the holidays. I was doing something that other people wasn't doing, and I accepted responsibility to do it. And I felt like, you know what? Let me really see if this content creation thing is something I will continue to do. So I'll take a little break. As I took that break, the ideas started increasing. In turn, my production or the amount of effort I put into the corporate job decreased. And I said, that's it.
Mm.
That for me is where I'm going to have a decision very soon. Corporate brand.
Mm.
It's coming soon, very soon, because of the connections, the opportunities that has presented itself, whether speaking engagements, as far as the book, touring, and just it's so
Oh,
many different
okay.
things.
Come on, book tour.
It,
Yes.
yes, it's so many. Yes, it's some great things in the works that I'm gonna have to make that decision to where it is going to be full time.
Mm.
The self care, because of my position, there are times when I get home late. The family already sleep, so
Okay.
I'm up for 2, 3, 4 hours by myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just following up with my devotions, whether it's musically, like we talked about. Depends on what mood I'm in. Depends on the
Mm-hmm.
music I listen to, the videos I watch, some of the people I listen to, and just doing a lot of reflection. Just trying to get myself together because I do have a lot of people that look up to me at home, away from home for the brand. So those are things that I don't take lightly. Is giving myself the nourishment that I need spiritually,
Mm. Mm.
healthy, mentally to be healthy. Physically, I
Mm.
need to get better. But I did just take my physical. Everything is good.
Mm.
I do, and I will drink more alkaline water. Okay, they got
Okay.
a super alkaline. If you look at your results, that's another story. But more alkaline need to be on the big homie side, even though it's still green, but alkaline side. So 2022, more alkaline water. Here I come. Um, that's something else. But just knowing this is bigger than you. We talked about it on this episode earlier that whenever you do what's right, you will get blessed for it. And my
Mm,
intent is to lead this world, and while I'm in this world, to make it a better place, not only for
mm,
my kids, but you never know what people are going through, what they're dealing with.
mm,
They talked about the numbers of depression just went higher, anxiety just went higher, and
mhm,
the world is going in so many different directions that if they can have someone or find someone that's consistent, you tend to reach the masses without even trying. Even though
mm.
you really behind the scenes, I won't say you're trying, behind the scenes you are working to be
Yeah.
a better individual, to be a better spiritual being. It tends to, what you do in the dark will come to light. Not to say I don't have my moments as a human being, but internally my motive has always been, especially as of late and as of recent, that if I can share, if I can provide, if I can give, I will, as long as it's mutually
Mhm.
beneficial. I'm
Yeah,
not no,
yeah,
I'm not dummy. I'm not a dummy. I'm not stupid.
yeah.
But if I can provide and give whatever gems and connections or anything I can do to help you, reach that next level, that's what it's about. Because the God I know is a jealous God. And
Mm.
Murph, you got this far, right? Because of me, right? Letting other people know who I am. Yes,
Mhm,
sir. Absolutely. And keep,
mhm.
doing them good deeds. I got you. But you got to trust me. And he took Why Not Sports, Flagrant 2, and the brand to, like you
Mm.
said, the slides of the pictures of the people I've been able to have conversations with in person.
I
Just the
love
door
it.
he continued to open. In this year alone, I'm like, I'm gonna have 500 episodes. I'm gonna have this. I'm gonna have that. I'm gonna have that. I'm like, wow. And my 2016, I never would have thought. Yeah, it's
All it
beautiful.
took was your yes, though, and that's the
Yeah,
thing. I love that you never know what people are going to say on how they balance. That's a question that if you are going to be a guest for this series, I'm going to ask that because it is so important to take care of yourself, even that much more when you are constantly pouring out. And in the ways that you're pouring out, you're the head of your family. So that in and of itself, that could be enough. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you have more than one child with different personalities and different needs and all these things. Then you're a manager, which that is a whole different thing because now you're trying to make sure that adults are doing what they are supposed to be doing at work and holding them accountable, but also trying to empower them to
yeah,
feel like they're equipped and capable to do whatever and delegating and all that stuff because empowered employees are happy employees. Then you're a content creator and you are someone who I have reached out to him when I've had questions about different things, or sometimes if I've wanted to vent because there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes in this industry. And when I have those solid people that I'm like, okay, I know I can talk to you about this and you're
mhm,
going to hear me out and you're also going to tell me, hey man, don't even trip off that or do this or do that. And like feel that confidence to even check me if I'm out of line. That's the people that you need around you. So when you're doing all that and offering gems to other people and then trying to grow your brand, so the late nights, the long days after you've worked a full work day, if you don't take care of yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically, you're not going to be able to have the healthy relationships that are needed because even when we are our own bosses, we are still accountable to people. We still need the support of other people. Unless you out here printing money to spend or something crazy like that, you will always need other people. It's never I'm my own. I'm a made man. I did this myself. Now this isn't to discount or discredit the hard work that people do to get where they're at cuz I know the grind is too real. But at the
yeah,
same time, some of the dopest experiences that I've gotten to partake in, even outside of content creating. So jobs that I've got to have that I felt like the Lord said, this is where you want to, I want you to go, and you're going to go, and doors that have been open are because of the people that I know. So who you know is equally as important and sometimes more important than what you know, because some people will see something in you that you don't even necessarily see in yourself and
Yes.
give you this opportunity, and then you see what you could do. But it's all about your intent, because as he said earlier, people can see when you're grimy, people can see when you're fake. Just because they don't say anything doesn't mean they don't see it. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta, it needs to be mutually beneficial when you ask somebody, can you do this for me? Prime example, a while back I had attorneys with swag on here. Shout out to them. They are some attorneys in New York that also are content creators. So they rap, they have a podcast, they have like shows, and the premise of everything they do is basically giving free legal, not advice, I can't remember the word that they use, just educating people on the law. They're not trying to give anybody advice because every situation is different. This
Different.
isn't legal counsel, this is just education. So they had a song about taxes or something, and it was, okay, you know what I'm saying. They had a song about interacting with the law. How they came on this show is because their publicist, I don't know where he found me, I don't know what made him email me, but their publicist, doing his
Dope.
job trying to get them exposure on different podcasts, emailed me, sent me a list of people. Hey, I'm trying to get these people on a podcast. Here's my clients. Are any of them of interest to you? Okay, that's all cool. That's how it benefits him. In that same email, now he is a publicist. I went to his website to research, make sure this is legit. You know what I'm
Sure.
saying? In that same email, he's like, and if you need any free advice or help with promoting your podcast, let me know. Mutually beneficial. You know what I'm saying? Now, I didn't require that of him. I just had the guests on because I believed in what they were doing. Once I looked at each guest, because it needed to line up with my show and my brand
Yes.
ultimately. So what they're doing by investing and educating and pouring out above and beyond their 9 to 5 or 9 to whatever law day, I just thought that was dope. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to have them on. But I say all that to say that publicists understood the assignment. We talk about understanding assignments, that it needs to be mutually beneficial when you network with somebody, and you need to offer whatever you're trying to offer up front when you don't have rapport. Now, D Murph and I have rapport to where he can ask me to be on his show. I can ask him to be on my show.
Absolutely.
He can call me and ask me questions. I can text because I'm more of a texter, text him and ask him questions. But most likely when I text him, what usually happens is he'll say, do you have time to talk? So that's what he will do if he texts, hey, do you got about 10, 15 minutes to talk? So he will like see where I'm at in my day because he understands that I have a lot going on. So,
Absolutely.
but we have that rapport to where we can
Yes.
do that. We didn't start there. We building rapport is a consistent thing. And any other shout out to Baylor. I mean, of course, the pod crew. Man, I don't think I would have survived this ever and never ending pandemic without them. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But shout out to Penrose. Shout out to Spence. Shout out to, I'm trying to think of people just along my journey that either on Twitter, or so it doesn't always have to be a phone call or a texting. It could just be in a Twitter thread. We talk about whatever, but these are just people that on my journey, if you've listened to the show, these are the people that I've called like my OGs, the men that have always been nothing but upstanding men. So it's not anything grimy because I'm not trying to be a part of that. I don't want no. This is like my legacy I'm leaving behind. When
Absolutely.
I'm dead and gone, it's so dope to think about the fact that I have over 100. This is episode 111 weeks, but I've had bonus episodes. So I have over 100 episodes that I have put out that my kids, when I'm gone, because that's going to be a thing, they can look back and they can even see that they were on the show. They can look back and just have my content. That's literally what I'm thinking about, why I do things the way that I do. But it's really how I'm wired. I've always been this way. So this is why I sometimes repeat the same topics when it comes back around, or, when people DM me with this, can you do this for me? I don't know you. And I mean, that's just what it is. I don't
Yeah.
know you. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But I say all that to say, y'all, is that you just got to keep going. Like, you got to start somewhere. D Murph didn't start at 475 episodes. He started at episode 1.
Yeah.
And he kept going and he kept going and growing and grinding. And it is a grind. And as you do all that, you got to take care of yourself. So I love that. Yes, the spiritual, so important. You got to be healthy. You got to interact with people in a healthy way.
Absolutely.
Man, and I was going to ask you to give a piece of advice, but I feel like you've dropped so many gems throughout this show. Like, cause
You
I
know
was
what? I'm gonna
okay.
answer that question.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
What's one piece of
And
advice?
listen, need this right now, Tam. They need this to start off their 2022. They like, yes, Murphy,
Okay,
thank you for giving us
okay.
2
So,
hours of this
right,
heat. I
right.
got
2 hours of y'all don't even understand. D Murph, this is like 2 shows for him. His shows,
you. Facts. It
his
really is.
shows do not be this long. So y'all gotta understand though.
But I can if I have to deliver though. You see what
I
I mean? I
appreciate
got
it. And I think he knows. I mean, he listens, so he knows that it wasn't gonna be no hour show.
you. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We
Yeah.
good.
So, what is one piece of advice to start off the new year? It ain't even about resolutions, y'all, but I mean, it is a new year. A lot of people see it as a fresh start. So, what is one piece of advice you want to offer the listeners that need it? That last gem.
If it was easy, everybody would do it.
Woo!
It's a lot of us, yes. It's a lot of us that say what they want, will sell it to the
Mm,
whoever.
mm,
If it was that easy, they would have done it, or
mm,
they would do it, or they would stay consistent to where they can have the financial freedom or the freedom to do what they love to do.
mm.
That's it.
There y'all go. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be about that action. Don't talk about it. Be about it. And let your consistency and your success, whatever that looks like, let that speak for itself. You know what I'm saying? It's not about I love one thing excuse me, one thing I love about D Murph is the humility. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just who you are. It is just who you are. It's not even just about giving all credit to God, which you do. So it's not even just about that, but it's just that you don't try to make it about you, even though you're doing a lot. You know what I'm saying? It's always about how you can help the next person. You know what I'm saying? And I think that is a key thing about, I don't want to say just successful people, but just people who have influence, people who have the consistency, the longevity, and all that you see that D Murph is doing. When you have somebody that is not only willing to share their platform, but they're just constantly thinking of ways of how to help, empower, encourage, inspire even other people, it's a beautiful thing. And so when you have that and then you have that humility, it's one of the reasons that he and I have continued to, because I could have just went on his show and we could have never talked again, but not build the friendship that
Right,
we've
right,
built.
right,
You
right.
know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? But it's because of who he is, just that humility. Despite, I mean, he's like low key famous. It sounds like, you know what I'm saying? Basically, despite all
It's
that,
humbling, for sure, for
you
sure.
really wouldn't know that, because he doesn't advertise that. He really sees the greatness in other people and really more so like, man, you're dope. Even him as a guest on my show, he can't help but to, you see the times he turns it back to me. That's just because that's just who he is.
I
He
didn't know I was
can't.
doing it, by the way.
Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. But that's just who you are, and that's how you know it's authentic. It's your show is, you can only be fake for so long, and you said
Oh
it.
no, no.
So people have seen the consistency, people see it, and it's great. And I appreciate every man, all the gems, all the support, all the just everything, because ultimately you help me get comfortable with the uncomfortable by being, yours is the first show that I did a guest spot, you know what I'm saying? And I don't do them often, not like on no weird stuff, but I don't ask people to be on their show. So if people don't ask me to, if I want you to do something, I'm gonna invite you on my platform, because it's like I have this idea. It's about the creative process for me. Even if you have a platform that I could have been like, hey D Murph, let's flip your show. That don't even sound right. Let me interview you on your show, if I was trying to worry about who has the bigger platform. But no, this is what I want to do on my show. So I want to have these people a part of it, because either what I see what you're doing for this
Okay.
particular series, or for any other thing, the vibe that I know you're going to bring, or whatever I know about you. And so when you're authentic, people want to stick around. You know what I'm saying? We've
I
built
don't
this
take this lightly. I really
yeah.
don't.
And
Because
he
like
he
you
you
said,
know, he really is appreciative of support. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate the people that do support you. No one has to give you any support. They don't have to download your show. They don't have to retweet. They don't have to do anything. We got to stop thinking we're entitled, and then maybe throwing these tantrums on Twitter like that's going to get us anywhere, because it's not. Be a good person, be good to others. If you can't, do the work within yourself to where you understand the importance of it, because hurt people are going to hurt people, which is why it
right.
all starts with being mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, even healthy, so that you can be healthy in relationships. It all goes back to that. You see so many people, they get this success, but they're really like not that good of a person. You're going to hear about it. You know what I'm saying? There are people, celebrities, or even maybe other people in the community, that I first heard your name because you either had an issue with somebody, or you did something grimy or whatever. And it's kind of like, what you do sometimes is presented to somebody before they even know who you are. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So like, be good to people. That's what it is. So I want y'all to follow him on social media. So tell the people where to find you at. And I will have the links to his website, which has his book. He already got a book out. You know what I'm saying? The shows, all that. You can support the podcast too, because y'all heard him. He ain't getting paid to do this at this point in time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
not yet, y'all. Not yet. All love and
yep,
passion for just
right.
giving all me.
Pouring into two shows, y'all. Like that's a lot. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, tell the people where to find you.
Well, Tam, thank you for allowing me to bless your platform. It's always an honor to be able to be selected to be a guest. When I would, like you said, I would, hey Tam, when you gonna have me on your show? Like, dang, like I need to, you know, hey, if it happens, it happens. If it don't, ain't nothing but love. You already know how to, anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
this is definitely dope. And also it just helps me to know, even as a content creator or behind this mic, and I said this earlier, but I can do hours of this if I wanted to, y'all. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
If I
Mm-hmm.
wanted, I can stay consistent for hours.
Clearly.
I'm gonna leave that alone. Hey y'all. Maybe in the future I'll give y'all a little more. But you can find me on Twitter and Instagram, personal account, social media on those platforms at ITSDMurph. It's DMurph. Email me. Check out the webpage, www.dmurphspeaks.com. Flagrant2pod _ on Instagram. Why Not Sports _ on Instagram. DM me. Just if you have any questions, feedbacks. 2022 is the mission to do more guest appearances. So if you've heard this show and you need a guest and I'm available, let's make it happen. So, but damn, you got a dope audience. You got great supporters. Keep doing your thing. I'm excited for the brand itself going 2022. Like you said, the trademark process, the things behind the scenes. I know what it takes. And for you to have been consistent and the belief in yourself under making decisions that the average person won't understand.
Yeah.
You will reap those benefits. Just keep doing your thing. And that's all I got.
I needed that, y'all. So next podcast happy hour is this month. Y'all know the vibes. I don't know when it is. I don't even know who's hosting. It was sad that we had to, reschedule the December one, but I mean, y'all want us well. You don't want us up here trying to be sick, and we got to give y'all our best. So we had to do that, but we definitely are not quitting. You know what I'm saying? We've only actually missed 2 months in the whole over a year and a half, basically, that we've been doing this. And it's because of we needed to cancel or reschedule, not because we just didn't want to. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely are coming back in January. More to come on that. As always, make sure y'all are taking care of yourselves mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, especially as you are out here grinding and working towards stuff. The grind has to pause so that you can take care of yourself. Have fun too. It's so important. If you work hard, you got to play hard too. You got to balance that out because you just feel rejuvenated and refreshed, and like you can pour more into your work or even come up with new ideas and like have the capacity to like do more above and beyond when you also have fun too. So make sure y'all do that. Be good to each other. I will be back next week. But until then, I will see y'all in these Twitter or these Instagram streets. You know what I'm saying? Follow me on social media. And y'all have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Ladies and gents, this concludes transmission. Tune in next time for a whole new edition. Another adventure and mission to share, be heard, and clarify the vision of this whole new world for...